Okay. So today we will see the unsupervised learning. So let me share image, okay, which will give you the clear idea of what is means how what is the difference between the supervised and the unsupervised learning. Okay. Yes. So can you see this image of classification and clustering?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So as you can see in the classification, we use this line, that is regression. Okay, this is the line of regression. Okay, as well as we use plane also, like hyperplane. Okay, for clustering means sorry, for classification we classify them like this. Okay, so if so this data is very well classified, that's why there is no issue. But if there is a data like this which is on that line, so this classification is not that much appropriate. Okay, yes, it is good, but for some means if they are having data on the edge of that line or some near, so the better is clustering. Okay, which comes under the unsupervised learning, where the groups of similar creates their own groups. Okay, for example, if you remember your day one in your college, okay, so it's like everyone from your class belongs to different cities. Okay, so the first what happens, like in the class you will be assigned with the practical batches. Okay, so like batch while you will be for 60 students, I think there are batches of 20, if I'm not wrong, maybe vary for different institutes. Okay, so for 20, so three batches will be there for practical. Okay, so you will be divided by 20. Okay, so this is example of classification. But after interacting with the other students, you will be like you will form a group. Okay, group of similar thinking. Okay, because we don't think like we don't use any criteria for friendship, right? So basically friendship happens on the similar thinking, so their clustering works. Okay, so it may be due to your location. Okay, so if you belongs to north side, so or north will form a group. If you belongs to south, then all south will form group. If you belongs to east side or west, it the clustering can form any means I'm just giving you example. Okay, so it can be on anything. Okay, or else it may be like area of interest. If you means if you want, if some people wants to join any other classes, extra curriculum classes, so he or she will will tell in the class that these are the classes. So the similar people of interest means if you have area of interest in that particular class, you will join. Okay, so that is clustering. Means here the people or the element with the same means groups or likewise will comes together. Okay, and as I said, this will create problems for the if they are on the edge. So here are also here is also the same problem. If the people's or you can we can say element, if this is here, okay, so what happens? There are so many types in unsupervised learning. Okay, like k-mean clustering, KNN, that is k nearest neighbor. So what that do? It will check the distance, which means if this is near to this will cover means this point will comes we can call this a. Okay, yes, we call this point, this is similar color. Yes, so we called it a, we called it b, we called it c. Okay, so this point, if one point is here, if the distance between this and if the distance between from point a is less. So this point will comes under the A category. Okay. So similarly, it will check the distance. Okay. So from this distance, there is a one concept of Euclidean distance. Okay. So these are just similar terms. Means if we are exploring one, another will create. If we are exploring that, then another will create. So the terms are related to each other. Okay. So likewise, it will check the distance. Is this? Yes. So is this far, means close to this or close to this? So you can see this is close to C. So this point comes in C. Likewise, this works. So it was the example of, I think, K nearest neighbor. Okay, so there are so many examples. We will see that also. So Abhishek Rathore, associated rules, we just have the input data spam clear. Yes, got it. Features, minds and behaviors. Okay, Madhukumar, got it. Okay, so thank you for your replies, guys. Okay, so this is the basic difference between the supervised and the unsupervised learning. Okay, is this clear? The next is I'm also having another image for unsupervised. First, I will explain you from image because I'm not able to draw it using the mouse. Okay. I'm good at drawing, but not using mouse. Okay. So I'll show you the another example of unsupervised learning. Yes. So this is another example of supervised versus unsupervised. Okay. Similarly, this is the regression. This is for linear. Okay. This is for linear regression, where you can see all the data is in straight line. Okay. And if this examples belongs to classification, then you can say the points, yes, points above this line belongs to A group and points below the line belongs to B group. If this is the classification example. Okay. Unsupervised, as I said, it is all about the clustering or forming of groups. Okay, so in unsupervised learning, it will form groups. Okay, so yes. Yes, Abhishek, that already done. Y equals to mx plus b. Okay, thank you. So the next our part is, okay, so just wait, let me check. Unsupervised, okay. So in the previous topics, we learned about the supervised machine learning, in which models are trained using the label data, right? Under the supervisions of the training data, but there may be many cases in which we do not have label data, right? And need to find the hidden patterns from the given data. So to solve such types of cases in machine learning, we need unsupervised learning techniques, right? So as usual, I have created one file because everyone is facing issue with the dashboard. Okay, that whiteboard will not work here because it will come, it will looks different for different. Okay, so you can see here, as the name suggests, unsupervised learning is a machine learning technique in which models are not supervised using the training data set. Instead, models itself find a hidden patterns and insights from the given data. It can be compared to learning, which takes, okay, so just give me a minute. Okay, so you can see here, it can be compared to learning, which takes place in which the human brains, while learning new things, it can be define as a new. This is the definition for the unsupervised learning. Okay. So unsupervised learning is a type of machine learning in which models are trained using the unlabeled.
Ma'am,
Sorry, ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Okay, okay.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Yes, yes, I got it. Maybe network issue. Just wait.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, your voice is not clear.
Yes, I got it. Maybe due to network issue. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So let me make it mark down. Okay. So unsupervised learning is a type of machine learning in which models are trained using unlabeled data set and are allowed to act on that data. Okay, this line is missing. Okay. Without any supervision. Okay. So if you remember the example of supervised versus unsupervised, let me explain you. Okay. So we can say for teaching means for the if for a student. Okay. If we are taking the example of student. Okay. Yes. If we take the example of student, it is supervised learning. Okay. Because that student is in supervision of his teacher, his or her teacher. Okay. Okay. So then if that student is preparing for exams, this is yes, here. Okay. So for example, if you take the example of student, okay. So if the student is prepare like a learning in the class, he is under the guidance of his teacher. That is called supervised learning. Okay. And the next is if that student is learning means if he is doing self study, he is learning by himself. He is not supervised means he is not like provided any guider or mentor. Then it is the example of unsupervised. Okay. Okay, and I think last time I explained you with the example of child, and third is reinforcement learning, which is like supervised, unsupervised. The reinforcement is also there, like unsupervised. In a unsupervised, we have input data, but we find output by using the clusters. Okay, so in reinforcement, what happened? Everything is self means for example if we give the example of child in supervised, if we teach him this is right or wrong, he will understand. Okay. In unsupervised, like he will ask, he will do the things, okay, right or wrong, but if he did a right thing, or if people are clapping, so he will understand this is right thing. Okay. By that actions he will understand. If he did anything and if his parents or teacher is scolding him, then he will understand, no, this is wrong thing. Okay. By the pattern he is understanding. Okay. And in the reinforcement, you can take the example like if that child like no means he himself is doing the things. Okay. For example, he is having some bitter guard. He don't know the test. Okay. No one is there for guiding him. No one is here there for clapping or like no one is there for him. So he will test himself. Then he will know, oh, this is better in test. So that is reinforcement learning, in which everything will depend on yourself, means it is self-learning. So that is the third part. We will learn that as well. No issues. So the next is unsupervised learning cannot be directly applied to a regression or classification problem, because unlike supervised learning, we have the input data, but no corresponding output data. Okay. The goal of unsupervised learning is to find the underlying structure of data set, group that data according to similarities, and represent that data set in a compressed format. As I said, it depends, as we saw the clustering. So clustering is all about the similarities. Okay. So here, why we use unsupervised learning? Okay. I am reading this slide because it is not possible to me for writing each line, because it will take time. Okay. So unsupervised learning is helpful for finding the useful insights from the data, right? And for every algorithm, there are limitations and there is explosion. Okay. For example, if we went with the linear regression, then we got classification algorithm. We studied classification algorithms. Then we there are so many classification algorithms. Once disadvantage is another advantage, or we can say once advantage is another disadvantage. Okay. So if that algorithm is not properly working, scientists will create another algorithm. If that algorithm is not fitting, then they will create another algorithm. Likewise, chain is continuous. So for there was some limits for supervised learning. Then we have unsupervised learning. That all limitations from the from supervised learning covered in unsupervised learning. But there are some limitations for unsupervised learning as well, which will covered in in reinforcement learning. Okay. So for classification or for supervised learning, we need a simple data. But if the data is very complex, we can use it for unsupervised learning. Okay. So if you see the second point, unsupervised learning is much similar, as a human learns to think by their own experiences, which make it closer to the real AI, that is artificial intelligence. This is just a part of data science, machine learning, where AI comes. Okay. If you study deep, then for reinforcement and then deep learning, and then that CNN part will come, that is neural network, which is like a complete, like your human brains. The way we have neural network in our brain, same you will study in AI. So unsupervised learning is one step to your AI. Okay. So unsupervised learning works on unlabeled data, uncategorized data, which make unsupervised learning more important. Okay. In the real world, we do not always have input data with the corresponding output. So to solve such cases, we need unsupervised learning. So this is the main example, or I can say this is the main disadvantage of the supervised learning, which came in the advantage of unsupervised learning. Okay, so what happens when there we do not have data, input data for the supervised learning? So then we come to the unsupervised learning. Okay. So again, I'll show you one image. Okay. So let me check. Yes. Okay, so can you see this clustering and association?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so these are basic types of unsupervised learning. In the supervised learning also we saw two types, which was regression and classification, right? So likewise in unsupervised there is clustering and association. The meaning is same, like here is also clustering means similar product will be there, and association as the name itself is saying the meaning. Okay. So coming to our previous point, let's explore what is this clustering and what is this association. Okay. So in meeting will end in 3 minutes. So can I close the session and again can you please join, because in between the point means we will get disturbed.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.